On GJ, we're going to be starting our analysis from the weekly time frame. Now, on the weekly time frame, what we can see here is this resistance. This is a monthly resistance here. If you go down to the monthly resistance, monthly time frame, this is a monthly resistance. You see price getting off of that zone, and on the weekly time frame, this is a double top. As you can see, this is the first top price rejected of that zone, and this second top price rejected of this zone for the second time. So I count this as a double top. So a double top forming on a strong resistance zone is signifying a counter trend, because overall we are bullish. So getting a double top at a resistance zone, strong monthly resistance zone, is just telling us, okay, from this zone we are going to be bearish. That means we are going to have a bearish trend, which to we, since overall we are bullish, we're going to call that a counter trend. Yeah, but I didn't see this for the past 2 weeks. Right now, for the past 2 weeks, we've been just anticipating bullish movement on GJ. At first, I think the first week I was anticipating bearish movement. Then going on to the second week, I changed my bias like that because of what I saw on the daily time frame. My mistake was not having this resistance on. This is a monthly time frame resistance. And if I had had this resistance on, then I would have seen the that we at a resistance zone. You get what I'm trying to say? And from that zone, we are rejecting of that zone. We got a double top. So we'll be looking for longs. And if you look at it, if you look at the structure here, this is just price telling us, okay, we want to go on a counter trend. So that's where we messed up for the past like 2 weeks. Right now, we just be looking for longs, and we've been getting our ass cooked by the market. Not just only that, on the daily time frame too, we also have like consolidation. So price was in a certain position for, I think, for like 5-6 days or so. Yeah, so that was another thing again. And when I was trading in that consolidation, I was getting cooked by that consolidation. So yeah, if you just want to go down to the monthly time frame, you see this monthly time frame, look at the structure of the monthly time frame, you see that price made this high, then low, higher low, then this is a higher high. So this higher high formed at a resistance zone, because at this zone here price dropped. From this zone price melted, so this is a resistance zone, and we are at this zone now. We are at the zone right now. Recently we are at this zone. So not only that, it's also a higher high. You get what I'm trying to say? Because this is a high and this is a higher high. So a higher high at a strong resistance zone, and we've already started having rejection of that zone. You get what I'm trying to say? So all this is indicating to us that, okay, price is not ready to break above this zone right now. So potentially you might see on the monthly time frame, it might be a retracement. You get, for price to make a new higher low, and from there we continue bullish if we are going to continue bullish. You get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, that was my bad. That was what I missed. But right now I just figured it out this week, and I saw, okay, this is where I went wrong. And also me trading that consolidation where price was just at that certain zone. Yeah, that was where I went wrong. So now coming down to this week now, I'm saying that, okay, this is a double top right on the strong distance. From this zone, we already made this leg, so we drop from down to this zone. So potentially we might look for either a higher low or price continuing the sell off, because potentially I see price going down to this zone around 208.430, around this support zone here. Potentially that will be our first target. No, our first target is here. Sorry, our first target is this support zone, and you see we've already gotten to that support zone. So second target will be this zone on the weekly time frame. Now going down to the daily time frame, you're looking at the structure here. You see, even on the daily time frame too, you just see how obvious it is. Just an avenue for us to be better. You get, for we to learn from it and just be better. Because me seeing this right now, I'm just like pained. You know what I'm saying? Because it's as simple, this simple like structure, market structure. I mean, like I said, it's a learning opportunity. I'm not going to give any excuse, but just to say, okay, it's a learning opportunity. Now looking at the daily time frame, you see this was a high, a low, like on this, right? This was a high on this bullish trend. We made this high, low, we push all the way up to make this high, then we break down. this candle close below this last higher low that price made. So this is switch of structure. Now we drop, push back, and we're rejecting off of this last higher low. Get so this was a resistance zone, and looking at it too, you can also classify this as a inverted, as a head and shoulder, not inverted. So this is a head and shoulder, head, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. If you want to call it, yeah, you can also count it as a head and shoulder. So where did we make our mistake from? What we're looking at was this zone. So we had this support around this zone. I think for the past, I think it was last week or so. I think it was last week. It was last week we had the support zone. Or last week or last 2 weeks, I can't remember. So we are thinking, okay, this is an inverted head and shoulder. So this left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. You get. So all my thought process was that, okay, from this zone, if price breaks structure, like it breaks structure and we want to switch, and we then go back down, we are making an inverted head and shoulder. This is then telling us, okay, this right now price is not ready to respect this zone. Get one chance. So that was my thought process, and that was why we're looking for longs. But if you look at the head and shoulder, the head and shoulder pattern, it wasn't like really right valid. So right now price at this zone here. So we push all the way up, boom, came back down, boom, push all the way up again to reject that zone again. So this is a double top here, and we drop down to this zone. Now this is a low, and this is also like a support zone around the zone. Potentially we might continue to drop down or make a new retrace for which to make a new higher low. But I'm looking forward to price making a new higher low because of this support that where price is a support zone. So if you go down to the 2 hour time frame, this is support I'm talking of. You can see how the support is looking like. You see, this is the support on the 2 hour time frame, and we've been rejected of that zone. And now this is looking like a double bottom. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's looking like you want to retrace for it to make a new lower high for which to drop. So if we make that lower high, we drop down to this zone. Potentially our next target will be down around 210.625. Now going down back to the daily time frame, looking at the structure here. Now, since we are on a counter trend, right? Mostly on a counter trend, where I like targeting is the next high or the next low on the daily time frame. Right now the next low will be this zone here, this support zone here. So if eventually we get a retracement, you just wait for price to show you that, okay, we want to use the particular zone as a lower high. How do you know those zones? You get a double top, like something like this, a double top, or you get a switch of structure, or you get a head and shoulder pattern on the 2 hour time frame. If you get any of those, then from there potentially price might drop to this support zone. So potentially I'm looking forward to, potentially I see price doing either two things. Either from this zone we just continue dropping down to here, right? So if you drop down to here, what we'll do is wait for price to retrace and for price to give us a new lower high zone for which to continue riding the trend down. So if we drop down to here, which I don't think price is likely to do, if you drop down to here, but it can do, you know what I'm saying, because you can't really predict, because you can't really say what price is going to do. It might just open and you see price drop again. So if we drop down to here, we just wait for price to retrace. Same concept, wait for a new lower high, and from the lower high you sell off to this new daily zone here, which is 210, around 210. So either this or price could, from this zone, we might just see a little bit of retracement, maybe just a 1 day retracement, maybe to this zone, potentially maybe to 212.500, and from 212.500 we just look for shorts and we target here, this zone here. So either of those two things, that's what I'm expecting from price to do. So right now we are bearish, so what we'll be doing is just looking for lower high zones to sell off from. So just like I explained, for we to get lower high zones, to know a lower high zone, maybe potentially you see price from this zone push all the way up to this zone, then maybe you see something like a double top here, You get? So this is a reversal pattern. Once you get this reversal pattern, this price telling you that okay, I want to use this zone as a lower high zone, and from this zone you sell off. You get? You sell down to this daily low here, or an inverted head and shoulder, a head and shoulder, not an inverted head and shoulder. So it might be something like this. Boom, boom, head and shoulder. Then once you get a rejection, you sell. If not that, you might also get like a switch of structure. So maybe a push, boom, boom, we make a high, then we close below, come back down to retest the last higher low, and then once you get rejection of this higher low, you then sell to this daily low. So either of those, or just like I said on daily time frame too, that price could potentially from this zone just continue bearish and down to this zone. If you continue bearish down to this zone, then what we'll still do is to still wait for those things, those things I explained. But now our targets won't be this low anymore. It should be this next low here. So yeah, that's it on GJ. But just to explain what I was saying by price consolidating, and I want you to take this in put this in mind you're trading. Once you see price like staying in a particular zone for long, like if you look at this price action here, you see price being around this zone, like this is a swing consolidation. To me, it's a swing consolidation. But also if I had my directional bias, if I had it right, then yeah, I would have been selling off from that zone. But since I didn't have my directional bias right, what I was supposed to not do was trade around this zone. Why? Because you can see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is almost like 10 days. Let's just say 9 days of price being around a certain zone, not going up, not going down. So we are not trying this, basically just consolidation. So around this zone, if I'm to put a rectangle around that zone, it should be something like this. Boom, 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 boom. You see, all these zones were just consolidation. So around this zone, I was supposed not to be placing any positions until price gives us a clear direction where it wants to go to. I've learned from that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was cooked. I had like 4 positions. I think I had one. I was supposed to have one break even. I didn't have the stop loss on. Price just, oh my god. And price was really moving crazy. The sell-off was mad, you get? And I was buying. So imagine where you are buying and price is making this kind of drop on GG. This is not a usual drop. You get this manipulation. Price does not drop this way on GG except for certain times. And I saw the news that Japan, they are having like some type of manipulation to the market just to make sure that their currency does not go too weak. You get, because their currency against the pound, you see how pound is gaining strength, yen is getting weaker. So I get they were doing 1 or 2 things just to make sure that their currency stabilizes or so. I don't know what those economic stuff, I don't really know, but I saw some news like that after this drop here, this crazy ass 300 pip drop that happened in like 6 hours or so. This drop here, yeah, I saw a news like that Japan were having some type of whatever to their currency, you get. So that was making all this crazy ass drop in minutes. Like I had one position around here. I was supposed to close that position at break even because I was buying from this zone, and me looking at it now is just like, oh my god. It's crazy. But I was supposed, even though I was in this position, right, what I was supposed to do was to close at break even. Okay, so what I was supposed to do was, I was supposed to put my stop loss maybe around break even, but I did not have a stop loss, and this candlestick here just poof. So instead of me closing at break even, I was down like, I think I closed that position at here, because immediately I just see that drop, I immediately went to my MT5 to close those positions and I closed around here. That was a crazy ass loss, a huge loss, huge loss. I was down like 110 pips on like my position. That was crazy. That's really affected my account. But yeah, that's it. We learned from that. We just wait for um price make a lower high, just like I said. And from the lower high, we look for shorts, we look for sell positions. So yeah, that's it on GG. That's my outlook on GG. Yeah, and you can see that we are like, just like I said before, that we are having like swings. It was a consolidation, right, on a daily time frame, because price was in a certain area for a long period of time, for days, but it was a swing consolidation. So price was moving in swing. So from here to here was like, if you look at the pip count, it's like 200 or so. If we are going to look at the pip count, let's look at the pip count. Maybe from here to here, 300. You see, so it was a swing consolidation. So we're moving 300, 200 pips in consolidation. So we go up 300 pips, come down 300 pips, go up 300 pips, or 250, come down 200, like that. That's what we were just doing consistently throughout all those days. So in this kind of position, what you do is just stay away from the market. You can see push up, come down. Since this was 300 pips, so this will be around like, let's say 200, 150, push all the way up again, 150 or 200, came down like 300 again, push all the way up, 300. You see the move, it was a swing consolidation. We are not moving in a certain direction. But yeah, we just wait for a lower high and we just continue the bearish movement on GG. So yeah, that's it on GG. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.